Hey YouTube, it's your boy Widgie here, and in this video we're going to be looking at the first 5 minutes playing as the LAKOTA civilization. Now there will be potentially some variations, but we are going to be looking at the 1v1 land supremacy. If there are any variations, I will mention it at the end of the video. Alright, let's get into this. Okay, so the first thing is you want to do is split your villagers over the resource crates, immediately select your explorer and get him moving, and queue your first villager. Now with LAKOTA, you don't have to worry about population. The only thing you need to worry about in this is building a TP. So we want to start herding. We want to put our TP down, our first TP. We want to start getting our hunts in. There we go. And that's it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is essentially all the kind of messing around and fumbling around that you need to do with LAKOTA in the first 5 minutes. However, what we're going to do, we're obviously going to continue until we need to age up and what we need to do. But a lot of the times, there are 3 different variations to starting with LAKOTA. The first one is the one that I've just shown you here, where we simply build a TP, which will provide a gather rate boost and also HP to units. This one is the building that you always want to build. Now, there's 2 other variations. One, you can also build a market and get hunting dogs as well as this. And the greediest is doing this, the market and hunting dogs, and a trade post as well. However, in this as your first 5 minutes, I would recommend just building a TP for now and holding. It depends on what treasures you come across. You may come across a very high wood treasure, and you may want to chop a little bit of wood, drop a market so you can get your hunting dogs, etc, etc. But for this, we're just going to be focusing on the TP. So all we need to do is try and make sure that we have 2 villagers on 1 deer. We do have 3 on this one here. It's not the end of the world. We can always shuffle it around like this. We can just try and keep 2 villagers to a deer so we can be as efficient as possible when aging up. So we have another villager. There is a little bit of a fumble here. I've been a little bit unfortunate with the TP placing. So we are just going to do a quick garrison trick there. If you don't know how to do that, you can alter the hotkey for the garrison, and you can pop the villager in and then pop him back out wherever he needs to go, so it's a lot quicker. But LAKOTA is one of the easiest starting civilizations for your first 5 minutes. Now, I've kind of neglected my scout here, so what you want to be doing is trying to just hotkey your explorer and get him moving around. Your explorer is the fastest explorer in the game, so you really want to be using him to get full coverage of the map. You kind of want to see where your next hunts are going to be. You want to plan where your next hunts are, so you know where to go. And we're just going to continue creating villages here. So you can see there's a treasure here. I'm not going to sort of gather or collect any treasures in these guides because it can alter certain decisions, so we just want to keep to a standard, if you will, or the most common kind of way of doing things. So you can see that we do have, I don't know if there's another deer there, unless it's disappeared. So yeah, we currently don't have 2 villagers to a deer here. It's not the end of the world. And we do have our first card. So we're going to be selecting, there's multiple decks I have here, but let's select the standard one. And it is going to be 3 villagers. It's going to be your first card, 3 villagers. This rarely changes. I've not really seen an instance where you will not use 3 villagers. See, we're starting to get where we need to be. And ideally, we want to be aging up on 14 villagers here, which is working quite nice for us. So we've got a good age up coming here. And we're nearly getting to our 800 food. So I'm just going to pause. We're at 797 food. I'm going to pause here. What we're going to do is we're going to be aging up with the 400 wood option. So it's the slower age up, not the fast one. 400 wood is going to be what we're doing. And what we want to do is we want to put the majority of vills over to wood. That's what we want to do because we want to drop a war hut. So we want to place a war hut. And there's 2 variations to your plan here, I would say. One of them is taking the stagecoach line. So if you want to start to take the trade post line in age 2, you might want to be thinking about placing a war hut in the middle of the map next to one of the trade posts that you want to take. Another variation is simply playing defensive. So you're just going to put a war hut here and you're going to play age 2. Most likely you're not going to be sending any wood. Another variation is kind of like a rush as well. But what I'm going to do is, as we get into our age, I'm going to select 400 wood. I'm going to put them over to wood. 1 villager goes to that hunt there that I want to bring in. And then all of these come here. And then our 3 vills are now coming in as well. So we do have another hunt that is quite far out over this side, which is going to be a little bit of a problem for us. And we do have a hunt, I believe, that's on the south side here. What we're going to do is we're chopping this wood, and we're going to take 2 villagers off ideally, and we want them to be sent into the middle here. We're probably a little bit late here. I am doing this live, of course. We want to continue with our herding, get that as close to the TC as possible. Now we have 250 wood, so we want to put our war hut down here. Okay, so when you've dropped your war hut and you've got the 250 wood, there's the decision that needs to be made around what your first card is going to be when you get into Age 2. So we have an option. We could go 700 wood if we want to start taking the trade post line because we're going to need a lot of wood. Or we can start going straight into units. Now, if we start going straight into units, our macro split is going to be different for food and wood. We're probably going to want more villagers on wood, and it's probably going to be around a 60-40 split, so 60% on food, 40% on wood. However, if we're going for the 700 wood, ideally we may only need 3 or 4 villagers on wood and everyone else on food. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the 700 wood age up, because a lot of people in the higher pro scene have recommended that, especially Julian as well, saying that shipping 700 wood first, even if you're not going for the trade post line or stagecoach, can be really effective for you to continually produce units from your war hut and maintain a lot of pressure on your opponent. So that is what we're going to think about doing. So what we're going to do is we're just going to unpause. Once we've built the war hut, we're now going to start to take a few villagers off of wood, and we're just going to start to spread them out the best we can. And now we're going to leave 4 on wood here. So now we're just going to continue with our food production, and we're going to try and herd the best we can here with the 1 hunt that we have. So our hunting is not amazing at the moment. We do have a hunt. I believe there's one around here we probably need to grab. Now, we've got the age up on, so our wood has now come in. We want to use the villagers that are on wood to start gathering some wood. And now our war hut is going to come up. So this should all happen at the same time. You should go for the age up, and then the war hut should pop out. So when the war hut's here, best thing you want to do first is click that Deliver Military Home Shipment button. You want to click that, and then you want to also click where the stuff rallies to. And then we're going to put these villagers over to wood, and we can maybe get one of them to start herding in the hunt over here. Immediately, we want to start queuing up some units. So we're going to queue up some clubmen here, and we're going to get an influx of wood. So immediately, I want to put a trade post down. And now we've got our card. I'm going to go ahead and select the wood card. So there's a lot happening here for LAKOTA. A lot of stuff can happen and go on. So we're going to leave 3 villagers on wood, and we're going to use our explorer here. And now we've got our first batch of units out. And immediately I'm going to decide that I want to start queuing Chetan Bowman now as well. So we've just gone over 5 minutes. So this is your first 5 minutes as LAKOTA. Lots of different variations. It's always hard sometimes to think about what you need to do depending on the map, depending on the civilization you're playing against. But in this instance, the age up from age 1 to 2 is relatively similar. I'd recommend always just building the TP for now. Don't worry about the market or the trade post. Build the TP. Try and get 14 to 15 villagers gathering food. Then age up, ideally on the 400 wood. And then there is a decision around what your first card is going to be, whether it's going to be 700 wood or whether you're going to go into units. So, hope you found this useful. And of course, let me know down in the comments below if you've got any further questions. Variations to this, there aren't too many. I've already mentioned them around how you want to play. And to be honest, LAKOTA on water, I haven't seen it particularly often. I wouldn't highly recommend it. Anti-water deck, of course, if you need to manage your opponent and deal with his water boom if he's doing it. But I would just solely focus on a land strategy here. So, of course, let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.